Hey guys, good afternoon. These are your notes for 19.2, Transforming Quadratic Equations. When we transform quadratic equations, we start with a parabola has the equation f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Okay, and these are the same things that a, h, and k have always meant to us. So the a is a stretch if it's greater than 1, or a compression or shrink if it's between 0 and 1. H is the horizontal translation, K is the vertical translation. Remember with the horizontal translation, if you have x minus h squared, it's going to go to the right. And if you have x plus h squared, it's going to move to the left. Okay, and then also the vertex is HK. Parabolas open up if a is greater than 0 and down if they're less than 0. And I have over here written off to the side the quadratic pattern. This is always from the vertex. If you go out 1 from the vertex, you go up 1. If you go out 2, you go up 4. When you go out 3, you go up 9. And out 4 is up 16. And again, that's always starting at the vertex each time and moving out 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you picked up the pattern here, it's squares because it's always x squared. Okay, so we're going to take a look at these questions. It says complete 1 through 4 for parabola f of x equals 2 times x plus 7 squared plus 9. So it says, is it a stretch or a shrink? This one is a stretch because the a term is greater than 1. Does it open up or down? This one's going to open up because the a term is positive. Is there a horizontal translation? Yes, it's going to move to the left 7 because it's x plus 7. And the vertical translation would be up 9 because it's plus 9. Okay, we're going to answer the same questions for the next parabola. It's f of x equals 1/2 x times x minus 4 squared plus 8. Stretch or shrink? This one's going to be a shrink because your a term is 1/2. It's going to open up because your a term is positive. The horizontal translation is right 4, and the vertical translation is down 8. We're going to go ahead, I'm going to go back to the first one actually, and name the vertex. It's HK. So in the first one, it's -7, 9. In the second one, the vertex is going to be 4, -8. Okay. The following, we're going to look at the next one. It says the following graph is a translation of y equals x squared. So they've taken the parent function and we've translated it. So the first thing it asks for is the vertex. So the vertex obviously is the middle point. That is 3, 6. Is the vertex a maximum or minimum? Because it opens down, it's a maximum. And then the quadratic equation for the graph. So we would start with f of x equals. First thing we have to decide, is there a stretch or a shrink? So from the vertex, if I go out 1 and down 1, I hit a point. Out 2, down 4. Out 3, down 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So that is the normal pattern. So there is no stretch or shrink, but it opens down, which means it's negative. And then we have x And because it went to the right 3, it'll be x minus 3 squared. And then it went up 6, so plus 6. Okay, we're going to practice graphing a few on the back. Okay, these are all your turns from this chapter. The first one is g of x equals x squared plus 4. So we're going to answer these 5 questions about it first. So is this graph going to open which way? Well, the a term would be 1 because we can't see it, so it opens up because it's positive. The vertex is hk, so that's going to be 0, 4. Stretch or shrink? No, so we're going to write NA. Minimum or a maximum? Because it opens up, we're going to have a minimum of 4. Because that's going to be the lowest. The vertex is the middle, that's all the lowest point. And then the axis of symmetry, that's where the x is, so it's x equals 0. So I'm going to graph the point 0, 4. Right there. Right, and then with no stretch or shrink, I can go out 1, up 1. And I go both ways. Out 1, up 1. And then out 2, up 4. Again, out 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. The second one is your turn number 9. And it's g of x equals x minus 2 squared. This one's going to open up because the a term is positive 1. The vertex is going to be at 2, 0. There is no h. Stretch or shrink? No. Minimum or maximum? If it opens up, it's going to have a minimum. And it's at the 0, or the y term. So the minimum is 0. And the axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 2. Notice I'm just using my x and y terms. For the max or minimum is the y term, or the y point of the vertex, sorry, and the axis of symmetry is the x part of the vertex. Okay, so I'm going to graph my vertex at 2, 0. And there was no stretch or shrink, so out 1, up 1. Out 1, up 1. Out 2, up 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Okay, make sure that when you draw your parabolas, you're using curved lines. They are not straight. The next one is g of x equals negative times x minus 2 squared plus 4. It's going to open down because we have a negative a term. The vertex is going to be 2, 4. No stretch or shrink. The minimum or maximum, if it opens down, we're going to have a maximum. And again, it's the y term, so 4. In the axis of symmetry, we use the x term, so that's x equals 2. Okay, so we're going to graph the vertex 2, 4. And it opens down, so we go out 1, down 1. Out 1, down 1. Out 2, down 1, 2, 3, 4. And out 1, 2, and down 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And the last one for today is g of x equals 2 times x plus 3 squared minus 1. This one's going to open up because it's positive 2. The vertex is at negative 3, negative 1. Stretch or shrink there is this time, and it is 2. It's a factor of 2. We're going to have a minimum, and again it's the y term, it's negative 1. And the axis of symmetry is x equals -3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and graph my vertex again. So -3, -1. Now with a stretch of 2, we're going to multiply what we go up by 2 each time. So instead of going out 1, up 1, I'm going to go out 1, up 2. Out 1, up 2. And then I'm going to go out 2 instead of up 4. I'm going to multiply that by 2 and go up 8. And same thing the other way. Out 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, and that's all there is to it, guys. You don't need an XY table to graph these, you just have to follow the pattern. Okay, your homework over this lesson is 19.2, pages 714 to 715, problems 2 through 22 even. Have a great weekend.